Kira858, and today we're bringing you our brand new campaign, Reclamation Season 1, Episode 6. I got it right. Sometimes I get it and then I forget. Of course, here we would like to, we're glad that you're taking a look at this campaign filled with suspense, mystery, and a bit of a, I think you can label this as a thriller. Of course, we're going to go around and have the cast introduce themselves, say who they are, who they're playing, and any projects that they're working on. And we'll start first with the lovable Aries. Aries, you'd like to talk about yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Adrian Aries, and I am playing Jethrin Cloudpole, who's just awesome and having a great time flying on griffins right now. And you can check me out on the Cookout, and you can also check me out over at the Bear Pen. I am also a storyteller and DM, and yeah, so if you want to watch some of these lovely people, they also play in Thala Unbound, which is 7 p.m. Fridays on twitch.tv/thebearpen. And that's all I have going on right now.
Perfect. Next we have, the lovable Ree. Ree, you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on. I mean, the project that's a secret has already been revealed by Glyza, so you might as well just let that out. NDA? What is NDA?
Hello, everyone. I am at Big Dude Ray on all of your socials, so feel free to follow me all over the place. I appear all over the internet at this point, including over on the Bear Pen, on this channel for various things. Well, I suppose I could talk about it now. In a few short weeks, the beginning of a brand new campaign over on the Rerolls Twitch channel, which is a baby that I've been working on for a little bit of time, will be beginning, and we get to see different universe, different world of Dungeons and Dragons. So you should definitely be checking that out on Sundays at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Tonight, however, I will be playing Kashad Chiron, the leader of this house, who's attempting to keep everyone together and behaved. So we'll see how that goes.
Pretty well, I would say. Next, speaking of that face is perfect. Ari, you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Hi, I'm Ari. Of course, you've seen me here on the Cookout. If you watch Riffinwood, I play Yvain here. I play Shay, who is not thrilled about being on a griffin, but I am a community manager, player, and storyteller over on the Bear Pen. My upcoming project will be Undead in Dallas is coming back early April for a short season with some wonderful faces who you may have seen here or over there. But on the socials, you can find me at Small Shadow Snack, where I play Possum Mama. I'm a Possum Mama.
I play Possum Mama. What a fantastic role. Who's your favorite possum? Make our way down. We have Aaron. And we'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ren. I play Timmons, best butler. That is everything.
That is everything. Perfect. Secret Service right there, all the glory. Next, we have a Di. You'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
I'm Di. You can catch me here. You can also catch me over, as Adrian mentioned, on Thala Unbound over at the Bear Pen. Today, here, I am playing Maravina Chiron, who is the troublesome middle sister who she's trying her best. She's trying her best. A
for effort, 200%.
Push some more up.
And of course, we have our wonderful DM, Zach. You'd like to talk about yourself and projects you're working on.
Hello, I'm Zach, DM extraordinaire, and I am here to welcome you to today's country music episode of Reclamation. I'm very excited for this, looking forward to it. I have a great chorus planned for all of you in this country music episode. We will see you in there.
Okay, yep, I wasn't ready for that. As for yours truly, I am Kira858. Of course, you can be able to find the content here, as well as my Twitch channel on twitch.tv/Kira858, where we have tons of different content out there. Gods of Color, a bi-weekly campaign. We have a brand new campaign that's coming out starting on Saturday, April 2nd, called Fractured Destiny. The best description we came up with is This Is Us in a D&D setting. And of course, we have a new campaign that'll be coming out in the near future as well. And that one we'll keep a secret for now. But if you want to keep up to date on all of our TTRPG goodness, make sure to follow us on the Cookout TTRPGs for not just TTRPG content, but Die Hard Dice giveaways and more. And with that, I think it's about time that we transition to our story. So Zach, take it away.
So last we left off, you all were completely invisible as you fly through the air on the backs of griffins and a strange creature called an airing that is said not to exist, but does. After learning our lesson from young Abrea of how they cannot talk about this because it is not an animal that exists, we find ourselves flying through the air invisible. Making conversation is quite difficult while soaring through the air on beasts of burden that move extremely fast as the wind pushes against your body the whole way through. Safe to assume that any sort of speaking will be difficult, but some of you have powers that you could employ or things that you might otherwise do. Would anyone like to do anything as you are soaring through the air towards your destination?
So Kashad is our texter. That's what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. That's the only way we can talk.
Well, I would like to speak to Abrea. Yeah, it was Abrea that was doing the sensing. Abrea, do you sense anything from up here?
Let me check. And then they'll use their primeval awareness to detect celestials, aberrations, fae, fiends, undead, and dragons.
So there is is this an active ability? Like, does it stick around for like an hour or something?
It sticks around for a minute, I believe.
For a minute. Okay.
Yeah, let me double check. I'm pretty sure it's a minute, unless I upcast it, I think. But let me double check.
Okay.
I have a feeling primeval awareness is more like bat sonar.
You're like beep, 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 beep.
Well, you all are traveling through
for
the
1
air
minute per the level of
pretty
spell
quickly.
slot expected. Yeah, so if I decide to use a level 2, it would be 2 minutes, but right now it's just level 1.
Just level 1, so that's really only... Okay. You do sense that thing that you're not sure what it is, although we in the meta know what it probably likely is. Mm-hmm. You do sense that thing. You, at the moment, do not sense any other presences.
We're okay. Just the one mystery one, which we kind of know now what it is. I think that one.
And they'll point to it. Well, they can't point to it because it's invisible. Well, they will point to the direction where they last saw it. Well, that won't help either because they can't see where they're pointing. Never mind.
Is it the animal that can't be named?
Check every once in a while to make sure nothing notices us up here.
Okay.
Yes. Good point. Thank you for mentioning. You took no name yet with you, right?
Yes.
So you would sense the celestial presence as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good reminder.
Yes.
And then he will do the same thing for Jethrin. Jethrin, do you sense anything out of the ordinary?
What would you like me to employ, my lord? My just ability to detect magical auras, or anything, or more holy magic?
Fine. Anything, really. I would prefer not to be snuck up on.
Very, very good. I'll expend a divine sense then, but I imagine that's going to give us the same answer.
What does yours cover?
Not as much as yours. Well, actually, see, I don't know that Abrea did their thing.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it would
that's true.
be divine sense. Okay, I can detect good and evil. I can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or the known location of any celestial fiend undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover.
Yeah, that's covered.
So that'll just be like right on us. But I also get to detect good and evil, so that's a thing.
There is all of your parties and whatever senses of good and evil they might project. There are no hallow or unhallow spells present within your radius. There is one of there's one of Little Slate Wings men who actually resonates as good.
Okay. Interesting. Nothing in particular, my lord. I might want to have a chat with one of Slatewing's men, but I can't tell which one it is right now because we're all invisible. But it's nothing to be concerned about. It's just this person is particularly good-natured, and it's always nice to know these kinds of people.
And then he will connect with various people throughout the travel, so that way if anyone else wants to talk, they can.
Anyone else like to speak with Kashad?
Group chat in Kashad's mind.
That is not how that works.
I know.
A very intense game of telephone.
Nothing to report on my end.
No, I think Mayor's just sort of clinging on for dear life.
Oh yeah, you're on the Ian. Ian? Ian?
Oh,
Aaron?
I will say just one more thing to Kashad. Kashad, while we're connected like this, some good advancement actually with the wargs. Mistress Marineva was able to take her first successful ride, and she did very well.
Good. That to be expected of my sister. I'm glad to see your experiment is bearing fruit.
It is, and I have been putting aside money for the second phase of the, producing beasts which are a little bit easier to handle. I'm almost there. Almost.
Keep it up.
Thank you, my lord. Meanwhile, I've got the never-ending story theme playing in my head when he's on Falcor.
As you all journey through the air, about an hour passes when inexplicably you all become visible in the sky. And not only do you see the plains below you and the shifting sands to your west as you go deeper and deeper, you also now can spot all of your companions and all of Slatewing's people flying through the air.
In the general direction that I felt the good person, would I be able to pick out who it is?
I don't.
Or would I need to do the ping again?
Does it's like things you can see? What is the nature of the ability specifically? Give me a second.
It says I can know the location. Oh, wait, there's an or there. Yeah, so no, I don't think that applies. I can detect good and evil, but the or is for the location of any celestial fiend around here. That or is important. So I wouldn't know. Yeah, then I won't do it again. I am also having a look here on oldie map DM, just to sort of like, you know, like when you're flying and you like put the map up to see where your location is. I'm trying to, as an Adrian, keep which direction we're headed. We're headed southwest-ish.
We'll do one better. Are you on the actual?
I am.
Like
It's just taking
map?
a heck a long time to load.
Well, if you're on roll 20, there is a red circle that represents where you all are currently.
Can I get like a estimated time to landing and current wind speed? No?
You know that you believe the overall journey will take approximately a week.
I know, I'm just teasing.
So, 8 weeks worth of travel, less 1 hour.
Sweet. I do not have key mind. I don't care.
Timmons would like to, while we are visible, take out a paper and some cartographer's tools. It is the skill she's been working on that she hasn't had a lot of chances to use, because every time they've moved overland, it's usually been at a run, and she's never had an aerial view like this. So she's going to attempt, during the periods of time in which she can see what she is doing with her own hands, to generally make maps. She's not incredibly intelligent. I'm not guaranteeing the accuracy of these maps, but like as a way to strengthen that skill, she's going to keep working out. I am actually proficient with cartographer's tools, but I think in the narrative, she probably hasn't had a lot of chance to use them yet.
It is windy enough that in order to do that, you will be risking your tools.
Mm.
Like you can. I understand that it's a great view, but like failure will imply like your tools are gone. Just so we're on the same page.
All right, I'm going to still do it.
Excellent. Go ahead and roll for me.
I'm guessing this is Dex with proficiency for...
Yeah, this one would be Dex with proficiency, for sure.
Okay. Give me just a second. I mean, not great. 12.
You are able to get a general like outline of some of the things below you, right? Like of the span of what you've seen from like the city to the hour that you've traveled, that you're kind of trying to guesstimate. You don't really know like the scale yet. You'd need to travel a lot farther to like really understand that. So it might end up being a very local map. It just sort of depends. But after you get the general like frame out, that's when you realize like you need to stop or you're going to lose your tools.
I like the idea that Timon's map looks like Aaron's maps, in which they make a lot of sense to me and no sense to anyone else, because it's all lines of direction and landmarks that don't look like anything.
In order to accomplish this, you're like using the back of the person in front of you to kind of try to like shield the wind. So
For sure.
He would also like, once you're finished, he would like wait for you to be done and not say anything until you're done. But after you finish the like general framing and he realizes that there's no longer drawing on his back, it's leather armor. So he kind of just like yells back and you can barely hear it over the wind. You hear like, just so you know, that feels really weird on skin.
Oh, my apologies. I'll give you a warning next. Actually, I'll just ask next time. That feels far more appropriate. Yeah.
While we can see each other, I would like to like practice connecting to everyone's mind so I can have a feeling for how different and that feels. I don't know if this is like a thing that can be mechanically like mean anything, but I feel like that's what Kashant would do, so I want to do it.
Sure, roll me a Constitution saving throw.
One second, I failed. 1 second.
I know that reface. That's I think this is a bad face.
Oh, damn it. I rolled a 1.
You experience a minor but temporary form of dissociation where you have connected to everyone else's minds so much and so many times flipping the switch on and off that you're starting to lose sense of self slightly. So you need to cut the process off there, and Kashad sort of knows that. And additionally, you have disadvantage on all mental and social-based checks until you accomplish a long rest.
Oh, son of a douche. That's
While we are flying, could I just look around and see how many people's hands I can spot?
You can try?
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
You're soaring extremely quickly, like through the air.
I know.
This has
Just
disadvantage.
Okay. First one, not bad. Let's see how it rolls again. Less good. 12.
You know, they seem mostly okay. It's really not the actual looking that's problematic. Like, you're staying in relatively tight formation. It's kind of like trying to keep your eyes open against the wind long enough while not blinking to actually, like, make sense of, like, narrowing in on the different areas. That's what's kind of causing you problems right now.
Bugs in my teeth occasionally.
You know, honestly, probably. No need to get graphic, but yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. We need a windshield wiper.
Just curious, do we have is it possible to determine how fast we're going per se? Like, does it feel like we're going as fast as a horse, faster than a horse?
Yeah, give me a survival check.
Okay.
I feel like there's that archer swallow joke here somewhere. But it hasn't been made.
Okay. 17.
You get a sense that you're probably moving around twice as fast as on a horse.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And also you're not needing to go on roads, so you're just kind of flying straight in a direction.
So the reason I was asking was because I was thinking about having, like, summoning a wild companion and then having them flying around to, like, look. But I'm not sure if a hawk can fly as fast as that. So when they realize how fast they're going, they're probably like, oh no, the hawk probably won't even be able to keep up.
What is the flight speed of a hawk?
I think it's 60. Let me double check. Pretty sure it's 60 feet.
Yeah, the hawk would probably not be able to catch up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and 17 is high enough that Aubrey would realize this for sure.
Yeah. Yep, 60 feet. Yep. Okay, thanks. Thanks for that clarification.
Who is my rider? Actually, Jethro would like some conversation with the rider. Is the rider masculine, feminine, otherwise?
So he brought all men. So all 6 of the people that are with you right now are men.
Okay. I didn't catch your name, sir.
Huh?
I didn't get your name. I'm Jethrin.
Ferd.
Well met.
Well met.
Out of curiosity, and he's stage yelling, so I'm not going to keep doing that. But how intelligent are the griffins, language-wise?
Huh?
Do they understand speech?
Who, me?
The griffins.
Oh. Don't know.
I'm gonna try talk to the griffin as loud as I can. And again, I'm not gonna.
There is no response.
All right. That sates his curiosity.
Anything else?
No, good.
Doesn't look like.
So you end the first day of traveling, and they immediately start taking care of the animals after they let you all down. Now you could make a conversation once they're done sort of putting up the animals. You could also make a conversation with some of the people that you're journeying with at this point. It's much easier now. You don't have to deal with any of the weirdness. But it is getting... They stop like an hour or so before like complete sundown in order to have like a little bit of light to actually set up the campsite by. But the animals did not really seem to have trouble flying all day. The evening is yours at this point for the first day of travel. What would you all like to do?
What was the name of the individual who we first approached? The youngest. I thought I had it wrote it down, but I guess I didn't save it. Yeah, I did it save for some strange reason. Could you provide me the name of that individual? Because Abrea would like to talk to him.
I would love to. Unfortunately, I do not see it in my notes. Did anyone catch that?
I know there was a Maria, but that was with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That was the woman. I was thinking you all didn't ask for his name.
We did it? Oh.
No, I believe we specifically haven't been given that name.
Oh, okay. That's why it was not in my notes. I was like, I thought I had it in there, but maybe okay. Some of them, you actually did ask. Okay, so Abrea would like to go up to the individual, and when he sees them, he's like, "Hi, I didn't get your name."
Ah, I suppose that you didn't.
What's your name?
Well, what is your name?
I am Abrea. Nice to meet you.
See, you should be careful. In polite society, it's good to give someone your name, but you should also remember there's power in names.
Oh. Someone else told me that before.
Really? Let me ask you this. If you were looking for somebody, and you know they lived on a certain street, how would you find them?
Oh, with their name. Oh, that's what they meant. Isn't that what they meant?
I have no idea who you're talking about, frankly.
Oh, Faye. Faye mentioned the same thing.
Whom?
Faye, the Faye Wild. I met the Faye.
Oh, Faye, like a woman. Yeah, no, I get you. Like a woman named Faye. Sure.
No, what? Okay. It's like no. It's they're like they belong to a different realm. They said if you give them your name, it holds power.
Lord Chiron.
Yes.
I mean no offense, sir, but I believe your youngest sibling is unwell. You should see to them. I think they are feeling sick.
Oh, wait, no, I not sick, but I did have a question. If we could just speak really quietly so no one could hear.
Aubrey, are you causing our companions a problem?
No, I just want to make sure that things are what they're supposed to be.
They're not causing me trouble. The issue is, I think, and then he'll start whispering to you. Kshad, you let him kind of like whisper directly into your ear.
Yes, he is. He's very much doing the migraine headache with the eyes closed thing. Trying very hard not to talk to people.
He tries to keep it relatively quiet because he's whispering anyway. And he essentially says, I think the anxiety of the flight may have afflicted your young sibling with some sort of illness. They keep talking about Faye, who is apparently not a woman, but is supposed to be people from another world.
I see. Yes, well, children tend to have floods of fancy.
You don't think they're getting a bit on in years for such things?
He spends a lot of time with the young prince, and they happen to enjoy flexing their imaginations. I would not dare tell the young prince what he can or cannot do, therefore I will not discourage Albrea from participating. Would you like to tell the young prince what he can or cannot do?
So, Abrea, what was your question?
So Abrea, they'll walk forward and says, okay, I know that we're not supposed to talk about it, but I just want to make sure there's only one, right? And they were not close to the castle, because I felt something like that close to the castle. So I wanted to make sure that if you're only supposed to have one, then maybe somebody else may have one too. If they weren't flying around the castle at that time. That's why I wanted to try to ask you a question to make sure that everything is okay.
One of my siblings was around the castle at the time, but mine is usually at that place that you saw when not in use, either that or back at the family castle in the south. So we'd have to talk to my siblings, I guess.
Okay, just wanted to forewarn you, so therefore in case somebody else may have one, you can start to take precautions.
That would be rather concerning.
That's it. Have a great day.
And they'll head back to the campfire.
I will be spending my time sort of like helping make the camp and helping the riders if they need it with anything that they might need, and doing the kind of like we've been riding a horse for hours, so you're kind of walking cowboy style.
Sure.
Trying to get my mind right, literally.
And while I have a bit more time, I will also, while helping people out, check hands again while we're on the ground.
It's going to be an every person you meet thing. Sure, go ahead, try it.
Yeah, I mean, he's helping around the camp while he's helping around making the camp. He's looking. No, that was a natural one.
With the natural one, I would say you start to get the sense that you can obviously make whatever decisions you like, but you do have like a moment of getting the sense that you might be being a bit paranoid. You also use divine sense in the presence of everyone, so if there were something evil, then that should have shown it to you. Like, you would have no reason to mistrust in such powers granted by Honest Vitae.
Sure. Sharpening my weapon, getting ready for whatever we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
I think Mare probably helps out a little bit with the griffins and the airing, as much as the keepers will allow. trying to not necessarily get her hands dirty, but she's curious about sort of what this process is and wants to be helpful. And then eventually sort of settles down next to the campfire and plays her bone flute a little bit.
Make me an animal handling check.
Okay, this will be fine. Nothing can go wrong here. Oh, that's a nat 20.
The other side of the spectrum. Awesome.
Interesting. Okay, got it. So you approach one of the handlers originally to kind of ask them about it, I would assume.
Yep.
They instruct you to stand about 10 feet away from the griffin that they've sort of got the reins of and to bow.
Okay. I follow their instructions perfectly.
As you do so, the griffin pulls the joints on both of its claws so that the two knee joints are onto the ground and inclines its head down. And the handler looks at you in surprise. She's like, "That's rather odd. Here, come here, try this. Just try to around the mane a little bit. Just ruffle the feathers gently."
Hesitantly, is this odd good or odd bad? She'll reach out and touch the griffin.
You do so, and surprisingly, the creature seems to respond to your touch, nudges their head into you a little bit. This process continues for about 15 minutes or so. When the handler kind of gives you a swift nod, and after they've set the animal up to their resting place, they come over and they congratulate you. He says essentially "Oh, you must be a natural. I mean, I don't tell the big guy said this, but I mean, not even some of the members of the family can handle griffins that well. I mean, it takes them years of practice sometimes."
Oh, well, thank you. I think it's a little bit of luck, and really, my younger sibling Abrea has taught me quite a bit about animals and how to get along with them. So, I think a combination of those two things probably allow me to. What is this particular griffin's name? Does he have one? They have one? She has one?
They don't really respond so well to names, so they're not actually named. We tell them apart by some of the patterns and their feathers, but I mean, they're not dogs, so they don't respond to being called. They respond to respect, physical presence, and touch, I guess.
No, that seems fair. If possible, on tomorrow, could I ride this one?
By yourself, and you don't sense any
not by myself. Not by myself. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, with me? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we could arrange that. Certainly.
That would be lovely. Thank you. I would like to, like you said, presence and touch, and maybe we could be friends.
Merovina. Griffins are noble creatures in this world. They are slightly more intelligent than their stat block would suggest in traditional Dungeons and Dragons. And they're rare. So while we can't really communicate with them with language, they do have methods of communicating with each other. And there are not many of them. And you have made a very good impression. So go ahead and mark onto your character sheet in the notes that you gain advantage on all checks dealing with griffins.
Ooh.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Sometimes the dice form the story for you, and Merovina has earned the respect of a griffin, and with how tight-knit their social circle is and how rare they are, that basically means all of them.
That is awesome.
So just one of those telltale game things. The griffin will remember this.
Remember this. Oh,
That's awesome.
Would anyone like to try to follow that with something else?
Where is Shay right now? Is Shay around the campfire?
That was my question.
Shay found somewhere to sit far away from any sort of animal to just decompress and check on berries.
Jethrin is going to sit next to Shay, if that's all right. How was the ride?
Honestly, if I can never get on one of those again, I would be happy.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of being on the saddle for that long, but I suppose I have to get used to it, raising wargs and all. But it's one of those things. Interesting question. I don't know. Well, interesting to me. The motion sickness, better or worse in the air?
Oh, it's about the same. I'd rather take the carriage.
Jay is interrupted by just a very gentle meh, and then an eldritch blast of force that fires out of Barry's mouth from on top of Shay's shoulder and crashes into a tree. Do you look towards the tree as you watch this happen?
Yes, because he put his hand down on the blade.
You see a couple pieces of fruit fall to the ground from the tree, and then Barry jumps off of you and starts gliding in that direction towards the tree.
That was mildly unnecessary.
I've just gotten them down for you know what. It's fine. It's all fine. This is going to be this entire trip.
I understand being hangry though, so you know I can't.
He ate like 2 blueberries. I thought he was good. He refused the rest. Obviously, I know what caught his eye now.
The metabolism of like a hummingbird. I bet. I mean, he's quite small.
Don't know. He stuffed an entire strawberry in his mouth and fell asleep the other day. So, I just thought he had a capacity limit. Evidently not.
Apparently not. Apparently not. I have a question for you, Shay.
Yes. If it involves the griffin, I'm not getting near it. If it involves the wargs, I'm not getting near it. If it involves anything that involves laundry, no.
It involves none of those things.
Ask away.
When you were growing up with your siblings, like how often did you find yourself having to like take care of them?
Well, my father was a doctor for like 3 different villages, and my mom was gone all the time. So all the time?
How was that experience for you?
It varied from day to day.
Like, obviously you're their brother and such, but did it feel like would you just classify yourself as that feeling of like a brother, or do you feel like you have that parent instinct in you as well?
Oh, I have absolutely no parenting instinct whatsoever. Berries gets what little remains. Could you not cram it into your mouth? You're gonna choke. Oh, sweet. Hold on. It gets up and goes to get berries, to grab the fruit that dropped too, to take it back over.
Interesting.
Small bites, please.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just been thinking a bit. It's one of those things where at some point I've been thinking about fatherhood and such. And I was just thinking about those aspects, of parenthood. Or, I mean, obviously, I have some brothers and sisters and such, but I won the right to become the next sort of steward of House Chiron. So I haven't been around that long to get, I guess, that kind of feeling. Although I suppose, I've spent time taking care of Mirovna and Obrea and such, but I don't know if that classifies as a parenting instinct.
It really depends. I mean, it just all depends, like, how you view them. Personally, my siblings were always my siblings. Like, I didn't birth them. I just got stuck taking care of them.
True. And it would be a little bit different for me. It depends on if I wanted to, kind of like, if I was chosen, for one thing. Being a father is a great sort of like right amongst our people. I don't know.
I mean,
It's just been on my mind a little bit.
that's fair. I'm not really the person to talk to about kids, though. I mean, unless you're talking about, just points down to the gristle. That's
true.
That's about it.
Fair enough. Just getting some perspectives, I guess.
I mean, if you feel like you'd be a good father, like, sure, have at it. Can you not eat that? Please give that here. Just push it down. It takes the core away. Push another fruit over.
I'm gonna go see about dinner.
Aries ignores the new fruit and like nestles up using your neck as a pillow.
Oh, now you're tired. He's just like looking at the fruit, trying to figure out if he notices what it is.
Yeah, roll me a nature check.
Oh no. $16?
Oh, that's way in excess of what you might need for this. Yeah, it's just it's not like a common fruit like strawberries or apples or those sorts of things, but it is one that is like native to the area around your kingdom. So I guess you would, with that, be able to determine that with the approach that berries used, either one, they were really hungry, two, they really like this type of fruit, or three, possibly both of those things.
Grab some more to be careful.
You throw some into your bag?
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe he'll not try and knock down another tree.
Well, let's hope not.
Gristle is tired. Gristle likes gliding. Gristle did not seem to deal well with flying, so Gristle is sleeping now.
Back in the pocket.
It seems Shay and Gristle are of one mind when it comes to traveling. At least through the air, like that.
I will see if I can get a bowl of food and maybe two, if whatever food there is, and see if I can find Miss Timmons. I mean, we're all in the camp, so I imagine. What is Timmons doing right now?
While y'all were dealing with the animals, I think Timmons had some other stuff she was working on, but then about this time, she's probably where the food is, helping to distribute from the stores that she brought for travel as well.
Can I give you a hand, Miss Timmons?
No, I I appreciate the offer, Sir Jethrin. I'm not sure there's much of a hand to give except to pick up your own bowl.
That I can do easily.
It's like a hearty stew.
That's good. I've been meaning to ask you a question. Did you spend much time with the last steward from my people?
I don't know. How long has Jethrin been here?
Jethrin's been there since 12, but he's like the 7th in the generation. So whoever was before would have been Bertrand's guardian. Bertrand? Berthorpe?
I was like, you threw me into an entirely different campaign there for a second. I was very confused. I don't know, DM. Did I know the previous marshal from the Leonin tribe? Technically, stewards are in charge of the house. Marshals are in charge of outside.
Oh, this would be our word for it.
Oh. Like, timeline-wise, there probably was somebody, but I'm not sure where that comes in the timeline for what happened with Berthorpe's life.
So here's what happened with that. Some people, when they have a bodyguard, are super nice about it and make that bodyguard's job easy. Berthorpe Vistania was not one of those people. So you probably saw them a couple of times, probably even met them and spoke to them a little bit, but you wouldn't have known them well because Berthorpe was the type to make their job as difficult as possible because he resented being a noble and all of the things that came with it.
I imagine there were many times in which I probably should have been elsewhere, that I was wherever Berthorpe was because I knew that he ducked his actual guard.
Yeah, but especially when it came to like official duties and that sort of stuff, you would have seen them around at those times because, you know.
Did you have any idea for it? Because in my mind, the lost one would have been female, if that's okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's completely fine.
What was her name?
That would have been Liara, as far as I remember.
Yeah, that's right. Met her a few times. We weren't particularly close due to the situation, but capable.
That's interesting. It's an interesting and varied thing that my clan finds itself in. I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity here, but always wonder how the lost stewards fared or their feelings about the thing. Obviously, new stories come back with each telling, but by the time the new steward arrives, the lost steward isn't around to speak to anymore. if you catch my meaning. When I got here, they were already back.
Timmons gives like an emphatic nod as you say that for a moment. It's like, actually, I feel like I understand that quite well. Because I come from a long line of people who serve in this capacity. But you can't have two, seneschals at one time. You inherit it when the last one stops.
Yes. I often wonder who will take my place, I guess. I don't know.
It is something I strive to not consider for myself.
I don't know. I've just been thinking about life a lot recently, you know?
If there was a very good man that I knew that would prioritize life, if it is something that is your calling, I think you should listen to it. And that may mean, I don't know, some travel, sabbatical, something like this, but not everything can be the top priority. Sometimes you have to decide what comes next.
Yes, this is true. Obrea is growing up, and very soon, well, it depends, I guess, but that's one of those decisions I get to make once they are of age to decide whether they will need a steward or require the next one to come along. Although I suppose that also depends on if a new child is going to be born to a new generation.
I'm afraid I don't know the circumstances of your people. Is it an if?
Not necessarily, but my charge was more for Lord Berthorpe's children.
I understand. I understand. Well, as indispensable as you are, I don't think that means that you should feel as though you cannot do what you must or want.
Very true.
In fact, Timon, it's up to you if you choose to include this, but you are in a position to know for a fact that doing what he wants is in fact exactly what Berthorpe would say that he should do.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was trying to hint at earlier, is that like, no, I know the guy who got you here. This is what you want to do. But I think because of the events of last session, she's probably not in a place to say it outright yet.
Certainly.
Well, enjoy your meal. If you need anything else, I will be point towards where I've got several operations going at one time. There's getting everyone fed, there's getting everything set up for the night, I'm moving around doing a bunch of other stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Mintz. I am going to enjoy my meal and then probably just play my flute for a while. And I will do just that.
Bria, anything else you're doing after you speak to, as of yet, still unnamed youngest Slatewing?
Oh, he didn't give me his name. That's right. Abrea will head back. After they realized that. It was like, it would sneak back over. They're probably still in mid-thought.
You're muted.
Sorry. Sorry, I was talking the entire time. So Abrea, heading towards the fire, stops like a Looney Tunes, when you see like the dust is like comes off their heel from like running really fast. They pause, straighten up for a second, and then they kind of like head back over to the Slatewing. It's like, wait, I didn't get your name.
Ah, yes. What did we learn, though?
Oh, yes. Names are important. Okay. But you have mine, so it will only be fair I get yours, right? Or is that how it works?
So you're employing trickery. You told me your name, so I would have to tell you mine. Is that the case?
But no, I just thought that was normal. But I mean, like, now I just think it's like only fair. Like, if I give you my name, then you should give me yours. Then we on the same plate, right? Same, right? Or did I get that wrong?
Despite it maybe being a 12-year-old's version of doing so, roll me a persuasion check.
Here we go. Boop. Okay, that's not that bad. 14.
Seems reasonable enough. So his name is Sloth. Sloth Flatewing. I'll spell that for you.
Thank you. Because the only thing I'm thinking of is, hey, you guys. I'm pretty sure it's not that spelling. Okay, perfect.
It says, okay, thank you. I will be on watch and make sure nothing tries to get us.
And then from there, they're going to head back over to the campfire, pretty much feed No Name Yet. So therefore they got, this is No Name Yet's first time out in the forest. So they'll probably head over to No Name Yet and be like, and they'll speak in Celestial. It'll be like, so, do you want to go hunting?
Okay, you didn't ask about it. But real quick pause.
Okay.
Abrea, I'm sorry. Jethrin, go ahead and roll me a history check.
And do.
You did not say anything in character, but you did reference her potential fate in chat, so.
12.
Okay. You do not know what has befallen Leara of the Leonin tribe.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know.
Well, she's a historically relevant figure, but your history check was not high enough to have known of her fate. She would also be like 44 right now, right?
Gosh, no, she would be quite a bit older. It depends. She would have also gone, 12 is around the time that all of them come, 12 years old. So whatever happened with Berthorpe, because I'm still not sure happened, I guess. That would have been roughly when she left. So.
You mean, like, you mean whatever happened with his death?
Yeah. I mean,
it was a failed mission into Telonia. That's like something that you all know.
Okay.
He was killed fighting in combat in a failed mission into Telonia.
Okay, so I actually imagine how roughly how old was he when he died?
So it would have been 10 years ago, so like 30, mid-30s.
Mid-30s, okay. And he died, obviously, when all the kids and stuff were alive. So
that would be 40.
Yeah, so she would have been older, I guess, because she would have been instructed to take care of whoever Berthorpe's father's children were, right? Yeah. So she would have been older. And then obviously when Berthorpe had kids, she probably would have passed the buck.
if he had kids, Prashad when he was around 20. So
yeah, by now she would be in her 60s if she's alive.
okay, it's certainly possible. Leonin can live to such an age, definitely. But for the moment, we do not know. Sorry, Abrea, back to you. You went to No Name Yet, and you were trying to feed him something, right?
Yes, give him some food. Originally, I was thinking about maybe going for a hunt, but then I was thinking maybe not the first night. We'll probably wait until tomorrow. Let them get used to the forest first, get familiar with the scene, and then next time for tomorrow's trip, probably take him out on a hunt to get them exposed to hunting out in the forest.
Roll me an animal handling check.
Okay.
This is going to be the session of animal handling check.
Okay, I would take that. 23.
You have no idea why, but without even thinking about doing all of like the weird behaviors and stuff that No Name Yet has demonstrated thus far when it comes to like hunting and pretend hunting, as soon as you hold the food out, he's just
Oh.
like right out of your hand, like a little puppy or something. Just
Oh, wow. You're getting used to eating. I guess the food is good. You must like the area, huh? Do you like the area? I thought so. Well, we're going to be here for a long time, so we get to enjoy all the forests and the sounds and the sights, and it smells good.
And they just kind of like take a deep breath and just like absorb in the night's air. So like
It's like home.
You notice with that high of an animal handling check that No Name Yet's eyes lock onto a squirrel that you can see on one of the nearby trees.
just to clarify, it's not berries, right?
No.
Okay, cool.
I say squirrel as a literal squirrel, not as a gristle.
Gosh, no worries. So when he noticed that,
No Name Yet's like, do you want to try it? Get it? Go ahead. You're a natural. You got this.
and I'm going to give them guidance.
Interesting.
To help give them an extra D4 for their hunt roll.
So it's interesting. You imagine that your guidance and the will of Honest is probably what makes the difference, because the squirrel almost gets away. No Name Yet goes to grab it like into his claws after kind of like getting low and stalking over to it, and it slips through the claws, but instinctually No Name Yet reaches out and bites down, like it jumping out like a raptor, and is able to grab it into their jaws just like instinctually after almost missing it.
So they will yell out in praise, like,
Congrats, that was your first hunt. Congratulations.
and so they're not going to disturb them before they eat, because they want to let them soak in the prize of taking in their first hunt. But they're definitely like smiling and watching very carefully as they see No Name Yet bring in their first kill of the day.
As you make sound, it turns its eyes towards you and looks, kind of cocks its head, and then swallows the squirrel whole and just starts trotting back over to you.
I forgot about your appetite. Okay. Well, I hope that you're full. When we're out here, we're going to have many more of those around. That's for sure.
So yeah, and they'll just like, have them just introduce them around the forest, still of course around the campfire, so therefore they don't got like get straddled on their own or anything like that. But just go ahead.
Sound good, Timon? Sorry if was that all that Albrecht wanted to do for now? Okay, awesome, cool. Timmons, go ahead and roll me a history check without the thing.
Yoke. without the thing, that is 17.
So you do not know the full story with the 17. You only know like the ending event. And you know that Liara of the Leonin was killed in combat, fighting someone, from what you heard, with the castle guard, like on the side of the castle guard, because despite her age, she refused to stop fighting.
Oh.
And eventually someone got the better of her. That's what Timmons knows.
In that case, it was an intentional omission that I did not bring any of that up in our previous conversation.
I think it's more you weren't even probably thinking about it in the middle of the conversation. It's more upon reflection, like Liara. Oh, Liara of the Leonin. Like it kind of sinks in.
Oh, I
did hear someone one time to like, yeah, it's more of an afterthought for Timmons. Not because it wasn't important, but because you didn't make the connection until forced to confront it.
Do I know the location?
It was at the castle. Like she was fighting on the side of the castle guard.
Interesting.
You just don't know the story of like how did she come to be like there in an attack on the castle, like fighting with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the link you're missing.
Okay. Thank you, DM.
No problem. Anyone else have things they want to do tonight? Okay, excellent. Go ahead and complete a long rest, all of you. And you are roused by the morning light rolling over your camp. And you can see as you all kind of start getting up, the Slate Wing people are about the same time starting to, whoever woke up the earliest is kind of waking up the others. And, it's kind of hard work, like leading the Griffins for hours. So they're all like kind of trying to sleep in, but everybody, whoever woke up the earliest is like forcing everybody to get up so that you all can keep moving,
I think Abrea would try to help if they could. Because I don't think they know that Meryl actually went to the Griffins to help them as well. So they, unless Meryl would have told them during the night, which they still probably would have helped along with Meryl. But I think Abrea would try to see that, things were started early in the morning, see if they can help them out with, getting things set up with the Griffins.
Roll me an animal handling check that cannot be guidanced.
Okay.
It's not something you actively do. It's sort of a passive thing that happens.
No problem. Okay. Oh, wow. Thank you for that. 19. 19 plus 6? 25.
Very good. But not a natural 20. So the Griffin kind of glances at you, and not quite the same thing happens, but you can see what you sense on the animal is like begrudging respect. Like, oh, I have to accept that you understand how to carry yourself around animals, but I'd rather not,
So they respect the talent, but not the person. Gotcha.
Right. So what the member of the Slate Wing Guard says to you, that is kind of with the Griffin that you had approached originally. They say that they can be kind of touchy. It would be better to not interact directly. But if you're curious, like how it works, they don't mind if you kind of sit nearby and observe, since they seem to be tolerating your presence.
Okay, and that's what they would do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you watch them kind of taking care of the Griffins. it's very kind of strange. There's like a blend of certain kinds of body language. Like it's almost, I hate this because like everything can kind of start going back to this metaphorically, but it almost is like a dance, right? Where you sense body language that, you know, sometimes they seem to be projecting like a confident or intimidating like sort of presence as they're dealing with the griffin. And sometimes when the griffin gets testy, you see them kind of peel that back a little bit. And you can like watch the push and pull of the charisma being utilized in different ways. And watching this with that animal handling check, Albrea kind of gets the sense that because these animals are so about respect, you can't just like force your way through it. You need that sort of like tug of war a little bit, because if you try to come on too strong, they will just resent you and fight. That's kind of what Abrea starts to realize as you see this happening.
Interesting. And so they would take that notes, they would place them in we call it, what was it called? Slatewing 2.0? the upgraded version book that actually has the gristle being rare creatures and send out magical spells. Like that one. Where they're writing that in the book.
Notably, the Griffin entry in that book speaks only of how they are animals tamed by House Slatewing and used as used to great utility to the kingdom. There are no details on how to train them. There is nothing. You are currently watching proprietary knowledge. And it is very interesting because, like, again, with that animal handling check, Abrea would recognize that many animal tamers take the approach of being stronger, being more confident, forcing the animal underneath your will. And sometimes that works. It seems to specifically not be the method employed with the griffins. And now you start to get an understanding for like why this house is so good at what they do. It's almost like watching actors more than animal tamers, interestingly enough.
I think there is definitely there was always a respect for the Slatewing just because they were the closest house that they could relate to due to their animal kinship. But I think there is even a higher level of respect associated from seeing this in full display, especially for a creature that's just so rare, how they just naturally able to pull it off so naturally. So they're appreciated. They're documenting everything. Thanks.
I would say that if you're keeping notes at all, you would have what we would call like a great quality entry on griffins in the book.
Thank you.
And if you want to mark it for gristles, you have a poor quality entry on gristles.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Mare probably when she wakes up, probably a little later than most of the Slatewings, but not like so late that it's a problem. Probably helps out. Abrea takes them over to is hanging out with the griffins. After experience yesterday, she's absolutely enamored. And
do you perform those actions? Do you perform in fret?
I will say you cannot tell all of them apart, but you are able to tell the one that you interacted with specifically. Like the rest of them kind of blend together, but just the end of carrying over the rest of that natural 20 is like, oh, you now recognize that exact one.
Excellent. I probably try to feed it a little bit of, with the okay of the Slatewings. Like, can I share my breakfast with this guy? Like, is that...
They actually tell you no.
Fair.
And like, do you ask for the reasoning, or when they're like, they shake their head, or do you just, okay. So they explain that griffins are intelligent enough to recognize when they see how people treat dogs. And so if you feed them like table scrap kind of food, so to speak, They recognize it for basically the way people treat lower animals. That's because of their sort of nature. That's just kind of how they see it. And so he basically gives you it's better if you don't.
No, that's of course. I did not realize how intelligent and magnificent these creatures were. My apologies. If there's anything I can do to help that is to their liking and standards, please, I would be honored to help.
The bow is always a good way to start.
I will keep that in mind.
It's non-obvious because most people don't go around bowing to very many animals, but it is the most proper greeting that they expect between human and griffin.
That is an easy enough to remember, and it is a small ask on their part for respect. I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
Kind of like how people normally treat handshakes, really.
It makes sense. If you don't have hands, a bow is be common. The way that their bodies are, a handshake would be rather cumbersome.
I agree. And you can see like the sparkle a little bit at how like magnificent the animals are as the person you spoke to yesterday is dealing with getting everything set up. And at this point, is there anything anyone wants to do while Abrea and Mare are over by the animals? Because at that area, they're getting close to being ready. So if anyone had something they wanted to do while that was happening, you can. Nope. Okay. You all set off for your second day of travel. I assume that nobody has too much they want to do during the actual travel for the day?
Nope. Just like once during the flight, I'll probably do my primeval awareness just to make sure there's nothing around, but that's pretty much it.
The end of the flight, I will do my practice again.
Towards the end of the flight, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ooh.
So the new circle, if anyone is on
okay.
roll 20, is where you end up camping at the end of the second day.
Okay.
And you have another 1 hour or so as people are setting up camp until the sunlight is gone. And is there anything you want to do with your second night?
Have I done my mind thing yet?
Oh, yeah, right. So towards the end of that flight, go ahead and roll me the Constitution saving throw again.
A 23.
That is exceptionally better. You do not experience any of the discomfort from the previous day. You do start getting a bit of a better sense for how to connect to people. And specifically, what I will tell you is that continuing training like this, you realize that, like, Kashad realizes that he's on the path of, like, the types of things that psychics probably do and study and practice before they become psychics after years of training. So the sort of, I guess, mental katas that you're kind of like working on and going through, this is basically the nature that you would go through to train like a telepathic or a telekinetic feat. if you wanted to do that with any downtime. That's what you're doing, essentially.
Noted. If no one wishes to speak with Kashant, he will prepare for the evening.
So I just have maybe like two things I'll probably do. The first one is, did I notice Mare's skills with the Griffin yesterday, or was it a bit too vague where I would have picked up her natural talent with the Griffins?
I probably would have told, even if you didn't notice. I think in the morning when we were hanging out, I probably told you all about okay. And
okay.
And it was really exciting.
Okay, then in that case, when we got down, Abrea would have sat right next. She's like, okay. So tell me again. So the Griffins, they're really intelligent. So you have to. It's like a really even flow. You have that like in spades. Like wow, that was amazing. Like, how did it just come out so naturally?
I think it was, like I told the handler, I think it was a little bit of luck, and really I credit you in the things that you've taught me running around in the woods, talking to animals.
So you know what's next on the list?
And then they'll put their hands together, and you just see like this beautiful white iris just start to appear in their hand as they cast Druidcraft to be like, you should be like me. You should be like a druid.
Oh, I don't know if that sort of magic is really my speed.
Well, you talk with Griffins. That's amazing. Like, most people can't do that. Like, when I talked to the Griffins the first time, they just tolerated me. But you just got there, like, immediately. So that means like this right here, like, the nature is so beautiful. I know you don't like to get your boots muddy, but it seems like you have, like, talent there.
You're right, and it's definitely a talent worth exploring for sure. I really do love the Griffins. They're more like, it's almost like they're more like feathery people than animals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because there's really smart animals out there though too, so it makes sense. Like, we like to think we're the only smart ones, but we're not. I'm pretty sure there's animals out there that are smarter than we are.
Oh, almost certainly.
So I'm glad that you got to see it. And not only got to see it, but you got to connect with them so quickly. Like I said, most folks won't even be able to talk to them, let alone connect like that.
But you too. I mean, you've got the druid thing, and you have no name yet. I no name yet. It's
running around is probably hunting for a squirrel.
Yeah, but thank you. Well, I'm glad I got to introduce you to my world, because it's besides the Slate Wing, I kind of feel at Jethro, I kind of feel like, I kind of do the solo thing, but now you start to see a bit about it. So I'm glad I'm able to show what it's like over here. It's a great place to be.
It is, and we have so much more time with them. I mean, yes, weeks out in the mud and the forest, and it's not my favorite thing, but
I see it. Your boots are still somehow the cleanest boots I see out of everyone here. I don't know how you pull that off.
For the record, currently in grasslands with some like trees spotted throughout. It's not really muddy. You're in like grasslands.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
I still think Mare is finding a way to bribe Shay to cast Precipitation on at least once a day.
That's probably absolutely happening. I'm just like, you're not like on a trek through the wilderness right now. You're like casually flying over grasslands. And what you'll notice is if you pass over any like cities or populations that are like thick populations, more than just like a little town or a small village, that is the times throughout the day where the Slate Wing will Sloss, he will activate the Airing's invisibility power to avoid being seen. And it seems to be like he knows it's coming. So you gather that he's probably developed some sort of an actual flight plan to make sure that this is only happening a certain number of times and sort of knows exactly where you're going. He is sort of leading the navigation. I guess I have not really said that yet, but it was probably obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just wanted to talk with Bear now that they got to connect over Griffins. And that's it for me.
Excellent.
Sometimes, sort of like late in the evening, I will just take a patrol around the camp.
Sure. Go ahead and make me a perception check.
16.
The upside to the shade is that you can sort of see things coming pretty well. How long do you patrol?
What would be a usual watch length? So, what, 3 hours or something?
3 to 4 hours, depending.
Yeah.
Sure. You do not really see too much. You see a couple of groundhogs, a spot kind of popping up, jumping over to somewhere else. Definitely some squirrels and a rabbit or two, but beyond that, nothing really.
All right.
That rabbit's probably dinner now from no name yet.
He does not spot it, unfortunately for
okay.
him. But
Okay.
Yeah, finish that watch and then go to bed.
excellent. Shay,
Nah, I got nothing.
anything?
Nah.
Okay. Shay is just chilling and trying to recover from the flight again, as Timmons is doing some physical kata, some training from her background. Kashad, anything from you?
Oh, he's just training himself.
Mental exercises?
Mhm.
Okay. Excellent. The second day passes into the third day, much as the first went into the second. We're going to kind of start summarizing this journey a bit. Through the night of the fifth day, so fifth day going into stopping, as of yet, nothing has really happened. And that is when I will, on that fifth night, pass it back over to you all again to see what exactly that you want to do. We'll start with Jethrin. Jethrin, what is your plan for the evening of the fifth day?
Definitely patrolling again. I think he's starting to make a habit of it every night.
Okay.
Just a 12 for this perception check.
Okay. As of yet, you do not see anything. Although the number of trees have sort of picked up a bit in the area, as if you're looking at the map, you can now see that you've sort of landed in between those two forests there. But you're also in kind of like dunes area.
Okay.
So it's a bit odd. These are not like coniferous or like, firs or anything like that, like what you would normally find in like a forest. These are like trees that basically require no real like water or anything to take root. They're basically weeds, but that grow with a strong
Savannah reaching on semi-arid desert.
Yeah.
I think, because I also realized Abrea doesn't really talk to Timmons that much. So I think they were kind of looking to see what Timmons is doing.
For this night, Timmons has just finished like clearing the plates and putting everything back in order and is again settling into running through some of these forms for the martial arts that she does. I don't think Abrea probably would know the forms well enough to understand like anything about which form she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you've seen her run through this a lot, like, you know. Well, actually, you probably haven't visually seen it a lot except for when you've been traveling.
Mm-hmm. So Abrea would kind of like muzzy over a bit and look up and says,
I never got to ask. What are you doing? It seems peaceful.
I am unsurprised that Abrea comes over, so I don't stop my movement. But as I get to a point where I like it's very like Tai Chi style, you know, where you're kind of constantly turning in a circle. You know, so as she goes into a form that turns so where she's actually facing you, her eyes go open. So she's like looking at you while she runs through it. She's like, oh, it's this is actually one of the first ones that I learned when I began to take my position with the order and prepare and train to become a member of this household. It keeps not only my body ready, but it also is quite good for the mind.
So it has a special place in you because it's one of the first words you learned.
Slight stutter in her movements. Something like that.
Can I try to copy?
I mean, she stops running through it. Yes. I mean, do you want me to show you some of it?
Yeah, I realize we don't really get to talk too much besides studies. And I realize, like, I feel like this is important to you, so it should be important to me. So I want to learn.
Well, you do not need to like the things that I like in order for us to spend more time together.
Well,
We could just as easily look after. Have you not given it a name yet?
no name yet is like the name. I see in response to it, so we just call them no name yet. It is official in the books.
Very well. I mean, we could just as well spend some time with no name yet, if you.
Well, no, because I feel like you have to be part of our world. So I want to be part of your world. And I feel like this is your world here.
It is a gift to be part of your world.
Really? Well,
Of course.
but thank you. I just kind of feel like it would only be fair if I should be part of yours too.
Well, I mean, I suppose there's no harm in giving it a shot, seeing how suited you are to it.
Thank
right.
you.
Come over here. And she'll go back to the very, 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 very first one that she ever learned, like, which is basically a standing breathing exercise in which the hands rise and fall to match the breath. And just start putting Abrea through it.
Abrea, go ahead and make me an intelligence check.
Ooh. Oh, not bad. I got a +1. Let's see.
well, that's about right. That's an 8.
You know, breathing is something you normally just like do. So trying to control it as someone who's never done any breath work at all, to the rhythm of moving your hands is like a weird mental connection that you're trying to make. And you're able to get some like marginal improvements throughout the process of Timon's teaching you, but you're still getting like a little bit better. But you realize this is not something that you have like an intrinsic natural talent for by any stretch of the imagination. It's like really weird in your brain as you're like, you'll like suck in your breath and like pause, but like the hand keeps going, and then you try to move it back, but then you start breathing again, and that like just messes with the whole rhythm a lot. So it's kind of difficult all around.
I think and there's just even more respect for Timmons when they realize how difficult this truly is, especially because, you know, I feel like our brand shares a little bit of me in terms of having a bit of ADHD, like a hyperactivity aspect. And so that also, yeah.
I have no evidence to this. None.
No Name Yet has not displayed any of those same qualities either.
I wonder where they get it from. So yeah, but they're trying their hardest, but there's like just a new level of respect when they see how difficult this is. But they're enjoying it, even though it's hard.
I think though that you do see like this is an area in which Timmons is a very good teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Even with your instruction, Timmons, you had to learn this in 3 days, like essentially mastering it in 3 days. You think with your instruction, like Abrea could probably get it in like 3.5 weeks.
Sure. But I think you do get to see some of like Timmons' personality as a teacher is what I'm trying to get more towards. Like while Abrea is struggling to focus, Timmons is giving them something to focus on. It's like, yes, at this point you're doing quite here. If you hold my hands, I'll help guide up and down. And like gives you some like basically a pace car for your breathing. As like there's a kind of a constant stream. In fact, it's probably the most you've heard Timmons talk in one go for a while. Where like there's just a constant stream of like, this is something you're doing very well. Don't forget to do this. And like it's just kind of a constant feedback loop.
And you can tell there's a big tease on their face. And sometimes it breaks because sometimes they know they messed up. Like, oh, I messed up, and then and they try to go back to focusing. But like, like even still, there's like a big. You can literally see the dimples on their face as they're trying to enjoy just listening to Timmons speak. They're definitely appreciating this moment. And that's what Brand does.
Yeah. I think Timmons comes out of it a little more relaxed as well.
You will all eventually go to sleep for the night.
I'm presuming we have watch, I'm presuming, but besides that, I'm guessing we all fall asleep. I'm not sure what our watch schedule is, but my assumption is we have a watch schedule, right? Right?
So you have paid for this travel.
Oh.
You all can do watches if you would like, but Sloth Slatewing and his men have a watch cycle that they've been going through, where it's like 3 of them do it one night and then the other 3 do it the next night. So someone's not spending a watch every single night. Since they have 6 people, they can kind of split it like 3 one night, the other 3 the next night, 3 one night, 3 the other 3 the next night. And this is one of those things where like that was our assumption for the past 5 nights. It would be a bit weird to decide now that you're suddenly all also taking watches since you essentially paid for this. But you can, if someone is feeling especially paranoid, now would be the time to speak.
Oh no, I was assuming we were on watch the entire time. I didn't know that we actually paid for them to watch. Hey, so if you pay for them, hey, do your service.
well, it's sort of like you hired them for the travel, right? And so like camping at night is part of like the travel accommodations. So
okay,
yeah, I mean that's essentially what's happening. Okay, So that would mean that at about 2 a.m., Kashad, you are awoken.
Is it by a person or is it a sound or?
A person. It is Sladewing, Lord Kyron.
Is something the matter?
Yes, a bit of a situation, I suppose. Some of the locals are here. They have 9 men.
Of course. He will stand up, clean himself with prestidigitation, and then go inside.
You see, there are 9 men. All of Sladewing's men are awake except for 2 at the moment. And 2 of them seem to be conversing with the group of people back and forth. And I do not think you speak Gringarian for any reason, do you?
I speak common and dwarf.
In a language that you do not recognize.
Is Gregorian a language?
Gringarian, it's the local language to the region that you're in right now.
No, I don't need this language. Is something the matter?
Yeah. One of the people walks over and the other one continues kind of conversing with them. Yeah, some of the locals, it seems like they're kind of trying to fleece us, honestly. There's something about how, like, it's traditional for gifts to be given when foreigners are utilizing their lands without permission. I mean, we're out far from any city at the moment, but these men claim that they have ownership over these lands.
Do I know anything about any people like that?
Roll me a history check.
Yeah, always make intelligence checks for me. I just dropped that off the desk. That's a 7. That I will use a thing to re-roll that.
Okay.
I would use a thing.
Oh wow, that is a 7 on the dice, so that's a 12.
Gringarian territory is very fractured. They do not have like a ruler or like a true standing army. They are tribal. There are several tribes that sort of war with each other for power. The warlords try to consolidate, where you have a couple of the strongest warlords that are kind of like trying to overwhelm the others and take over and establish like the whole region as their own. But because there are several powerful people, you know, they just kind of like push against each other, and no one has really tried to make political arrangements to actually like consolidate on power. So it's essentially a bunch of warring tribes. There's no real government outside of the individual tribal structures.
Okay. They don't know if they speak common.
You don't know. All of the Gringarians you've met have, but that doesn't mean that they all do. You don't really know because it's a loose collection of tribes.
I will go over to them. Is there some sort of problem?
Yes. You are on our land. You come, you offer no gifts, you ask for no permission, yet you make your home here as if it is yours.
While they're talking, I will use my abilities to nudge people awake just in case.
You're trying to establish mental connections with them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go to this map. What is your range on this ability?
5 meters? 5 miles? Yeah, 5 miles.
you can make a mental connection with people over 5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we are within a number of miles equal to my charisma modifier.
Yep. They got the best telepathic abilities, the three between Side Knife. Side Knife one sucks.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So you guys are all essentially over here.
I can only start it though within 30 feet, but once it's started, then it can be up to 5 miles. So that would.
Okay, that is extremely important. That's why I was asking. You can reach everyone though, so that's fine. Each of you in turn sort of starts to have a dream where you're talking to someone and all of a sudden someone who is not Kashad starts speaking to you with Kashad's voice. And it's very disorienting until you're like finally awoken and you hear the tail end of like people here.
A question. Right about what time would I be doing my patrols of the evening? You said this is 2 a.m.?
Yeah, I mean, you started doing them originally around like light, like the light going down, which would be around like 7 p.m. I was assuming they'd be over.
I wanted to do it while people were sleeping.
I could be wrong, but I don't think that's what you stated the last time. The way I remember it originally, you were doing it while people were like setting camp and stuff. So
I think I must not have said it out loud. My intention was to do it while people were sleeping, so we'll just go with yours. It's no problem.
Okay, yeah, like we're sort of at stuff has already happened.
Yeah,
It's now,
it's no
so
worries. It's no worries.
It would be weird, but if we will take note of that for the future nights for sure.
Just one quick question: is Gregorian, is that the same as Daroganian, or is that different?
Daragonia is your country, and Gringaria is their country.
And there we have
those
our
are
own
like
specific
national
language.
languages. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay, there. Gotcha for like where? Okay,
right.
All right.
Thank you.
It's like being in a place where they speak Dutch, but also like a lot of people would speak English, right? Like a lot of people will speak Common, but they have their own language too.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks for that clarification. Okay.
For sure.
Start getting roused, I guess.
I was not aware that you had such claims. Where are the borders of your territory?
You are asking me specifically?
No, I'm asking Kashad is asking the person who was talking.
They're asking you. You are asking me specifically? Or you're asking of Gringaria?
You are the one who was here. Why would I care what someone else thinks?
He points to one forest edge, then he points in the other direction to the other forest edge far off in the distance.
Very well. We will leave your territory by the morning. You may leave.
And how will you make this up to me this evening?
I don't believe I need to do no such thing.
You would disrespect our people in our own land?
In diplomacy, such accidents occasionally occur. This one will be forgotten.
By you.
What you choose to do is none of my concern.
I see. Well, I'm glad I have learned the measure of you. Enjoy your evening. And the person who is speaking turns to leave.
I would like to use detect thoughts, if possible.
You can certainly try.
There's a somatic part that'd be obvious. I won't do anything. I will let them leave.
Okay, they leave.
I was amusing.
What happened?
heard that there are people who wish to claim this area for themselves, and they feel it was rude to not request permission to be here first.
I mean, what harm would it have done to see what they were asking for? Could have been something simple.
I could give them a flower. Can I try giving them a flower?
Maybe not.
No flower?
I mean,
Too late.
I don't know the customs of these people, but there are some villages like to the east where I'm from, where if you give somebody the gift of shoes, it means you're asking them to get out of your life forever. So a flower might mean like, oh, I'm giving this to you because it's your death. That's why I'm putting flowers on your grave. I don't know their customs, so.
Can we ask what's like a good gift for them? Let's see if a flower will work.
The people are currently about 100 and some feet away from you. Be difficult to ask them a question at the moment, but.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not gonna go off if it's not against if the group says otherwise, but if the group is okay with it.
They're actively walking away, so I'm just tracking. The longer conversation goes on, the further away they will be.
Okay.
Can I try to see if I could give them a gift, see if a flower will work as a gift?
We should.
Oh, sorry, say that again? Yeah, your gate cut you off.
Oh goodness, I have to turn that extra stuff off. And why do you wish to do that?
So it'd be nice and peaceful, and especially if it's their land. I feel like, we could do right in their land. And like if they would have came to our place, and then they would have did something that wasn't in our culture's right. Well, I can see us having a problem. So I just want to make sure everything is smooth, so there's no problems.
I do not believe that would be a good idea.
Ducky.
Brother, it just seems like we made a potential enemy unnecessarily. And who knows how long we're going to be in these lands, and they certainly have allies and family. And are you sure this was wise?
I believe so. House Lightwing was under the impression that our guests were attempting to fool us, and we are still a noble house, although we may not be the most prominent. If we allow people to fool us here, we will be allowing them to trick us for the rest of our lives.
No, but I mean, even if they were attempting to trick us, they didn't even get the chance to say. They could have wanted something simple, like Abrea said, maybe a flower, or help with some terrible thing that is causing them distress that we could help them with. It's not. If we are to be a great noble house, then shouldn't we help people?
I tried to look to one of the House Lightwing people that spoke to the people before him. Do you know what they were after?
Yeah, like I said, they were speaking of gifts for the intrusion upon their land. Like it sort of kind of sounds like, if we'd gotten drunk and passed out in an alleyway and some thugs came along saying like, hey, this is our alleyway, Sort of had that read to it, in my opinion, I guess.
Does any of your brethren disagree with your assessment?
They all kind of like look amongst themselves. They chat like a little bit, and eventually they all kind of shrug like, well, we don't really know too much about Gringarians. They kind of keep to themselves.
Everyone, and I believe everyone should return to what they were doing before. Pay extra attention to the griffins through the night. Jethrin, will you join me for a nighttime watch? It's been a while since I've gotten to exercise my muscles, and I have a feeling that our new friends will return.
So here's the change. On their side, they don't just have someone watching at camp. Normally there's like a person stationed, like you guys kind of have your separate camp, they have their separate camp, just sort of like collection of like tents and bedrolls and stuff. They normally put someone in the middle so they can kind of like keep their eye on both tents and the surrounding area. They also have one man now who's stationed specifically by the griffins to be able to alert if anyone were to try something with that, because you mentioned it, and it's just generally a good idea. So where would you all like to be placed if that's what you're doing, Jethrin and Gashad?
Probably just equally distant from where the middle is, I would say. It's like in our area, but like kind of where they are. You know what I mean?
Like here?
Are you on roll 20?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Place yourselves, please.
I was not aware.
Were you
I'll
thinking
tell
like
you.
here?
This man is over here. This man is over here. This
So you want to be here? Okay.
back to his tent. These people
Yeah, right.
have all left. This guy is back to his tent.
So a little bit away from where our tents are, and a little bit away from where the other people's tents are. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I will have to change that token picture because I don't own that picture. I'll have to fix it.
That's okay. We're not recording. That's all. Go ahead. Sorry.
Roll me perception checks.
Also, Brea would also use a wild companion aspect to bring out an owl. Just so therefore they could have a third set of eyes flying around, make sure they don't get sabotaged.
So I rolled an 8. Would I be able to re-roll that using my what is it? I forget what this ability is actually called, but magical guidance.
I mean, the specifics of it are like if you fail, you can reroll.
Mm.
How many times
Make
can you
an
do
ability.
this?
I spend a sorcery point each time.
That's still really, really good.
I
mean,
have
Chronal shift can only be done 2 times for a long rest, but you can do it as many times as you have sorcery points. That's insane.
Yeah, but you can chrono shift everything. I can only do ability checks.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Still exceptionally good, considering it can be used on literally anything, ability check wise. Like when you fail history, when you fail survival, when you fail whatever. But no, I mean, fair is fair. I just don't know anything about the ability, so I'm just like coming to terms with like, wow, that's wild. That is wild. No, so yeah, I mean, that would be a failure, so you can reroll.
I got an 11.
12. Dice hate me today.
Okay. Your watch passes without note, and neither of you notice anything. Well, I guess more specifically, you believe everything to be fine. You believe you're actively noticing that there are no problems around the camp.
Well, get some rest, Jethrin.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to add some time on our return journey to maybe avoid this spot.
It is possible. I would prefer to avoid hurting people, but I have enough to walk on.
True. I don't know anything about their culture, so my gut reaction is it's the old highwayman tactic, but who knows?
I agree, but we will see soon enough, I suppose.
Indeed.
No, just the shadow of distant, and he will sleep, but he will sleep in like a readied position, like not underneath the blankets.
Sleep, but not like super deep, Like
No,
I'm still
like,
trying to like be on watch, but like
no, there's no mechanical difference, but he's not like climbing under the sheets and wrapping himself up. He's just kind of like if someone comes in.
Oh, you mean like you're
up,
literally sleeping on top of the bedroll instead of like getting under the cover? Okay, yeah.
He's not nobleman sleeping. He's like soldier sleeping. He's like, no, just in case. I don't want to be bundled in 7 sheets in a blanket. If something happens, I can, get up. But like, there's no mechanical difference.
The first battle is out of the sleeping bag, and then you go to war.
Like that. I don't want that. I'm a noble. I will not be fumbling around in my sleeping bag for 30 minutes.
I understand you.
I will not go back to sleep. I'm actually just going to post up outside our tents and just sit and sharpen my axe and wait till morning comes.
Excellent. So, Jethrin, go ahead and take a point of exhaustion for that.
All right. Can you mark that on D&D Beyond? Is there a one?
You can.
Yeah.
It's under conditions. You click on conditions, and then one of them is exhaustion at the bottom. You can click on that.
Where's conditions?
It's in on the sheet, kind of like one of the blocks underneath the HP and stuff. There should be like conditions and then resistances and immunities.
Found it. Yes. Exhaustion level 1.
As the first rays of light begin to crack through and other people have not stirred yet, you would be the first person to realize something. The man who was keeping watch all night over by the griffins is not standing up. Seems to have fallen asleep. Laying down.
I am going to give a bit of a roar by the tents to rudely wake everyone up, and I'm going to go over to the downed person who may or may not be dead.
You see a man who has been killed by being stabbed in the heart. It is the handler that Mayor had worked with, because that is the best man with dealing with the griffins, or was. And in his chest, pinned with the dagger, there is a note written in common that says, "Your debt is paid." And that's where we're going to go to break. We left off before the break. Jethrin had just roared, awakening the campsite to the discovery that in the night an assassination was carried out of one of Sloss Slatewing's men, and also, unfortunately, Maravina's new friend. What would you all like to do?
I'm immediately, even though I know it's useless, I will check the body to see, if there's any chance of saving him. And
roll me a medicine check since you're checking the body.
Okay. I think I don't have any bonuses to intelligence. Yeah, this is 10.
That's enough to know it's been cold probably for at least over an hour. Like, it's hard to say exact time of death, but 10 is plenty to know they're pretty gone.
All right. I'm going to check the area for footprints or signs of which direction this person might have gone in.
Survival.
I am Kashad's shadow. Wherever Kashad goes, I am directly next
6.
to.
These dice are not having it today.
Seems like whoever may have carried this out was somewhat skilled. It's hard to say.
Position the body on the ground respectfully.
Yeah, Abrea will begin to start using druid craft to create a different array of flowers around the body. Reds, yellows, and white flowers in different correlations to give them a peaceful burial.
Mare's gonna talk to the other slate wings and see what she can do to help with the griffins now that they're down a person, and try and make that process easier for the animals to adjust.
So one quick note here. These are Slatewing's men. The only one who actually has the name Slatewing is Sloth.
Okay.
So like it gets a little weird when we talk about houses because like really they're like Slatewings in the sense that they're members of the Slatewing household and they have duties there thusly, but they do not have the name Slatewing. They're more like bannermen in that sense, right? Sloth would approach you and he would say, I hate to ask this. We're running super off book here, but I don't suppose you'd be willing to try flying off for a shot? The Griffins seem to have a high level of respect for you, and I don't know who else is gonna fly the other Griffin if not you.
I would be honored. If the griffins are amenable, then I am as well.
We'll definitely figure out a way to make it work. Thanks.
Of course, this was not planned. We must adapt.
Sure. And he turns to leave. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
It's 11.
You get a general sense that he's leaving a lot of stuff unsaid. There's probably like some intentional emotional distance being carried out. He hasn't addressed like what actually happened or anything at all, which is like a little weird. He's just kind of like going about business and kind of trying to move on. So Maravina can take that as she wills, but that's what you get with an 11.
Yeah. Probably figure that they're just grieving and trying to focus on the things that they can control.
I would like to try and gather Timmons and Kashad together.
Easy enough to do.
My lord, this happened under our watch. I do not know if it is respectful of our house to leave this as is.
Find them.
Do you have any advice on the matter, Ms. Timmons?
I imagine that it is a matter of priorities. The Slate Wings, should they take personal umbrage at this, which I imagine they have, must choose between their duty to us and whatever resolution they would wish to seek. I would say what we can offer them is that choice of whether we delay here in order to find a conclusion to these matters, or whether they continue in their work and we continue on our way.
We don't hear you.
I will not force the Slate Wings to do anything they do not wish to do. But this is a debt that shall be repaid one way or another.
As you say. Should we approach Master Slightwing to ask what he would like in this matter, or give him space to...
I will speak with him discreetly, and he will let me know his decision.
As you say, my lord.
And I will go look for Mr. Slatewing, whose name I can't pronounce properly.
Sloss, Timmons is with you.
Sloss Slatewing.
So, he kind of glances at your approach, but doesn't say anything.
I offer you our sympathy for your loss.
I appreciate that.
Do you wish to have this debt repaid?
I don't know.
I would not tell you how to respond. That is not my place. But this is a blatant disrespect.
Our job was to deliver the Queen's nieces and nephews safely towards their destination. As of yet, we still have a shot at accomplishing that. I can decide what to do about other things when that job has been accomplished. It would be dishonorable to do anything else at the moment.
I will not seek to dishonor you, naturally. Is there anything that we can provide for you on the off chance you decide to take care of things on your own?
None that I can think of at the moment, but I appreciate the offer.
Very well. Me and my people will ensure that our camp is packed as soon as possible. Please take as long as you need to finalize your business. And should you need any aid from us, do not forget to ask.
Actually, I am curious about one thing.
Speak your mind.
As I understand it, I hear rumblings that you have, as of yet, unmeasured and unknown arcane abilities. Is that true?
It is.
Have you any experience harnessing these for the purposes of enchantment?
I have spoken with the Bright Weavers about it, but I've not done so.
If you do get a handle on that, send a word and let me know. I might have a commission for you someday.
Of course, consider it a repayment for a disrespect brought upon you here today.
You have done nothing that I would call disrespect. Though, again, I appreciate the sentiment. Recent events have come to my attention that I perhaps need a new sword. Just send word. He goes back to what he was doing.
You will return.
I will, as far as I know, the only local holy man or current holy man in the thing, at least try and give some rites of passage. The dead person.
You do so.
All right, I guess we head on the Griffiths. I think Abrea would ride with Mare, since the Mare is going solo or riding the Griffin, tried to lead. So I think Abrea would, if they could, try to help guide the Griffin across.
Floss looks over at you like he's about to say something, but just kind of... He doesn't. So you don't know exactly what he was going to say. He just decided to leave it. Signals to everyone to also mount up.
Young Master Abrea.
Yes.
I hate to request this, but I think it might be more beneficial to the future of our party if two heirs were not on the same griffin, if you understand my meaning.
But you think something's going to happen to Mare?
No, I don't. But if something did happen to the griffin, I would not want both of you on the same one.
It's a reasonable request, although I would have liked to have ridden with you. We would have had fun.
Yeah, it would have been fun. Okay, well, Lily's right next to it then. I'll be next to it then. I'm not sure how much help I can be, but okay. Okay.
That is easy enough to arrange. You all mount back up and set sail, passing into the arms of Jestkar, unscathed, at least the rest of the way. You all have arrived at your destination. You see in front of you sprawling mountains. There does seem to be a path cut through them. There must be some walking paths that people utilize through this area. As of yet, everything that you can see looks passable through climbing, through utilizing the path. It all looks like things that you could do. Looks manageable. Looking up, it's hard to measure exactly, but you'd say that the peaks have to be at least 10,000 feet.
Oh, that's really high up there.
So this is 2 days later?
Mm-hmm. If we can flash back if you had things that you wanted to do.
No, I just want to know, can I hit the long rest button there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, because I had that level of exhaustion, so...
Not anymore.
Any place around here that looks easily defensible? Like a cave or something?
Give me a perception check if you're trying to spot signs of possible cave entrances on the face of the mountain that you can see.
Can we look from the air so I can have advantage?
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Before you land, you're taking a look. Sure.
17 plus 2, 19.
That's pretty good. Not as many as you would expect, but you do spot one that you make mental note of, and you think you would be able to navigate to.
Right. Thank you for escorting us here.
Safe travels home.
As I understand it, we're meant to be waiting for you in the general area, and you will send word when you're ready. Is that correct?
I believe so. What was the village's name again? I'm trying to look on the world map, but we're still on the other map. Ejar, yes. I believe we are to meet you in Ejar.
We will be in Ejar. Send word, and we will go to you when you're ready to.
Excellent. For my clarification, DM, the tribe that I'm supposed to look at is here in the Ajarian Woods. For the weapon.
Remind me, which weapon?
The Slateman guy, in order to make this happen, we said that we would speak to some tribes people that were close to this area to try and get one of those weapons. It was like a
I see what you're
scimitar.
Saying. That's north.
North of the Ajarian Woods.
That's one of the tribes in Gringaria, where you just came from and had some trouble with the locals.
Okay.
None of those people were carrying double scimitars, so you gather that was the wrong.
Okay.
Must have been the wrong tribe. It must only be one of them or a couple of them or something. But yeah, it's one of those tribes has the double-bladed scimitars.
Okay. Cool.
So the deal was that you try to stop by. Are you on the map? At the moment?
Yes.
You tried to stop by like this coastline, or potentially Gringar, like on the way back. So instead of as you came through the Mirkwood and Arkwood sort of pathway there down to the bottom, you'd essentially be turning it into an oval and looping back up the top way, if that makes sense.
Okay, yes. All right, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
One more question. How long does my lion last that I cost?
You mean your heroic boon?
Yes.
I think we said until the combat is over, right?
So would it have other utility things? Because it has advantage on perception checks. Let's kind of want to use it.
Let's clarify. Let's clarify to until combat. We'll set a specific timer on it. I reserve the right to adjust this up in the future. I will not adjust it down from here, but we'll start at 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, cool. 10 minutes.
If that turns out not to be useful enough, I'm open to potentially moving it to like an hour or something in the future, but we'll start at 10 minutes for now.
Well, whenever we start getting ready to look for whatever it is we're looking for, I'll summon it so it can help us with tracking.
Certainly. You have a general sense based on the conversation with Lady Brightweaver that you will need to be going up the mountain before you start getting to things that you're actually like probably interested in trying to obtain.
All right.
I mean, not necessarily to the peaks, but like it won't be towards the very bottom. You'll be wanting to scale a bit.
Okay.
To the peak in 3 days, or your training is a failure.
Just to clarify, what time is it right now? Is this late night or early afternoon? Like, are we setting up camp for the night?
This is actually like, I would say a little after midday. So I'd say you probably have like 5-ish hours of daylight left. Plenty of time to start moving if you wanted to. we could camp at the base and start early the next morning. It's up to you all.
We should. I saw a cave on our arrival. I believe it would be better to hold up inside as opposed to out here unless either of you see somewhere more defensible.
If we are to make our way up the mountain, or at least further up, as we only have around 5 hours of daylight left, I imagine we could only move for around 3 before setting up a new camp. I don't know if it's going to be possible to go backwards and forwards, as it does tend to get cold in mountains at nighttime, so we might need to think about that as well.
That was just your expertise and Albrea's understanding for this. Outdoorsmanship was never my particular strong suit.
It's safer to go to the cave that we know of now than to hope to find one further up. So we can just go to the cave.
And then we can look around for an hour and a half and then begin making our way back or so.
So would you say that with Kashad's aid, someone is trying to navigate to the cave that he mentioned? Who's making the survival check? I assume that it's Abrea, but...
I was assuming so, but yeah.
Okay.
It sure ain't me, dog.
You have a straight roll.
All right.
It take me to
It is-
take the skilled feat.
It is advantage from Kashad helping you, but disadvantage from not having spotted the cave directly. So turns it into a straight roll.
No worries. No problem. Okay. Boop, boop. Okay, 14 on the die, so that's a dirty 20.
Exceptionally good. Yeah, it takes you about 3.5 of the 5 hours, but you're able to navigate to it, and you guesstimate that you've gone a bit laterally and probably gone a couple hundred feet up the mountain so far.
Ooh, okay.
By the time you reach this cave.
We're here.
See any signs of beasts in here?
Yeah, they'll look around for tracks first, see if they're seeing any tracks on the ground or something like that.
Yeah, I'll make my own check as well if I can.
You may both roll separately.
Okay. Oh, another
Natural
14.
20 for 23.
You do both spot tracks. Actually, the difficulty was only 15 because they are rather large. What did you get, Jethrin? 23?
Natural 20 for 23.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know these are made by some sort of giant humanoid. Having some experience with them as a Leonin, giants are native to where you come from. This is some type of giant humanoid.
Does it look as if...
The foot is shaped like a barefoot human print, but it's extremely large.
Does it look as if it is making this cave its home?
With a natural 20, yeah, you'd say the tracks are relatively common here. That's probably the case.
Well, potentially bad news, potentially good news, depending on what kind of giant and how intelligent this is. Do any of you speak giant?
No.
Only if the giant also speaks Becknian.
I'm in
Dwarvish?
character.
Goblin?
You think we know speak Becknian? They, again, natural 20, exceptionally good rolls. They do not seem to be home at the moment, but they do seem to live here.
Well, some giants are incredibly clever. Some are incredibly stupid. What we're dealing with, I have no idea at this point in time. could be reasoned with. But this cave might not be safe or might be the safest spot for Miles.
Let's look for secondary location further away from here. It would not be effective to begin negotiating from here.
No. Well, shall we try and find another location then?
Okay.
Indeed, I think based on our experience with this journey already, intruding onto people's homes without permission and letting them know that we're here hasn't ended well. We should probably avoid that in the future. And now.
Yep. Having left relatively early-ish in my life, I never got the opportunity to learn any giant. So, negotiations would probably involve me getting very angry and trying to smack it a lot.
Hey, which direction are we wanting to go from here? Like, okay, I'm trying to mentally picture this. I'm having a little bit of difficulty. Is it like craggy rock all around and there's kind of just left or right? Or
So there is a path. You followed the path. Essentially what you've done so far is you followed the path up to an area that need to be climbed and seem to have easy footholds carved into it, almost as if people are obviously using this. So didn't require any sort of specific athletics checks or anything. You guys scaled that, thus bringing you up a bit, followed the path continually up a bit laterally, and then you came to a cave. So the possible directions are try to climb up and over the cave, right? Continue to follow the path, which at the moment is winding left, which laterally is back towards the direction that you came, but just sort of continues to wind up. Or go right and try to scale right across like craggy rock. So there is a path that you're following, but you can also try climbing checks to scale less easy areas.
With that natural 20, did I manage to pick up how long the giant has been away from here?
Less than a day. So you likely gather that they probably left sometime in the morning and haven't returned yet for night.
And the path that they're following is which way?
They're following the path up.
Well, if we want to avoid the giant entirely, perhaps we go back down. Or we try a bit of dangerous maneuvers along the more craggy path and see what we can find there to make a camp.
I'm willing to scout ahead should my services be needed. I know I can move a bit quicker than several of you and a bit stealthier than several of you.
Now we should leave this cave.
Obrea, would you be able to bring one of your friends out to help us look?
Oh, yeah. I can have him come out and take a peek. 1 second.
And then you just see, of course, nature runes start to spread across their arms as little trails of green leaves starts to flow around. A little breeze picks up, and they'll. This is still during the day, right? So there's daylight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then they'll bring out a hawk. Nighttime they'll bring out an owl, but during the day they'll bring out a hawk. And have the hawk take a look around and see what they can find.
And I believe new abilities, you now have the capability to speak to animals without expending spell slots, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a look around and says, squawk, squawk, hawk noises, big green up mountain.
Oh, okay. They'll repeat this. There's a big green up the mountain.
What kind of big green we talking about? Like the trees, or is this giant green?
They'll use their senses to look through the bird to be able to see what they see.
You can do Discord right now, right?
Yes.
I have
Oh, we got
sent you the image on Discord. You see exactly that.
Well, so it is not a plant.
One other note, it's carrying with it a tree trunk.
Well, it is carrying a plant. A huge redwood tree. It looks to be a giant looking thing up north.
All right.
Left the cave yet?
All right.
Have we left the cave yet? DM, or are we still?
I think we're still there, right? We were just taking a look to
Yeah.
see what was further up north before we decide where to go. So
I assume you're like hanging around the cave mouth right now since Abrea was using the hawk to track, but I mean, you can be wherever you want to be.
Did your friend manage to spot anywhere else in our vicinity that we could potentially make a camp? Away from the giant.
Let me ask them.
and fortunately, with Five Familiar, they can actually speak telepathically. So they'll ask the hawk to see if they could be able to find a spot, like a safe spot for them to be able to reside in.
Squawk, squawk, I am a hawk. They do not see any other caves. No caves, they say. Then they say, lots of rock. And then they say, camp on rocks.
Oh,
So sadly, no more caves, just lots of rocks. So we could probably cap on the rock.
I like it. Let's do it.
Safe?
Safer than this thing. This thing is huge. I've never seen anything that big before.
Abrea was able to see it through the hawk's eyes. You estimate about 12 feet tall.
About
and they'll point.
12 feet tall. Green with long arms. And carrying a tree. I think the tree is like its weapon.
Did it look like more like a tree itself or more like a stone itself?
No, it looked kind of like, it's like green. It kind of looks like a lizard. There's like patterns all over the arm, like a little stuff. And then it's wearing a loincloth to protect his pee-pee. And then it has, it has a tree trunk. Really big nose, pointy ears. Yeah.
Can I make any check to see if I'm familiar with this kind of thing?
Yes. Make me a history check at disadvantage.
The first one was natural 20.
Oof.
The second one was a 3. And I have no bonuses, so it's a 3.
I mean, it like you already kind of knew it was a giant from your previous check, but I mean that seems to track. You know, there are different kinds. A giant is like a catch-all term.
Mm-hmm.
There is like giants that are literally just like super tall, like humanoids, almost human-like, but it's also used as a catch-all term for just extremely large humanoids. So, I mean, it seems to track.
Okay. All right. Rocks?
Rock time.
I suppose rocks is better than staying here.
All right. May I attempt to cover our tracks while we move?
It will slow you down, but yes.
All right, I shall do that.
Survival check. Roll 3. Roll 3.
I rolled a 7, which brings it to a 10.
I mean, if someone is not looking, they probably won't notice, but since you're still trying to kind of move before the daylight leaves you, you're not certain that you've completely covered your tracks for people that might be actively hunting.
That's good enough for now.
It's gonna have to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So to make sure I clarify, are you camping on the path, but further down, not by the cave, or are you camping on the craggy areas?
Craggy?
Because I was speaking as a hawk, and the hawk just said camp on rocks, but that could mean a lot of things, right? Like, are you trying to camp on the actually difficult to pass areas and like climb to a spot where you can like set a bedroll, someone else climbs to another spot nearby where they can set one? Or are you trying to go on the path, but further down away from the cave, where it will be easier to make a camp?
If we go further down the path, though, that heads towards the giant, though, right?
The giant's up.
If you go up the path, if you go down the path.
Yeah, okay. I presume we were talking about going back down, right?
Yeah, I would say going back down so we could all camp close together without having to be spread out and not being in the way of the giant coming down. If we're assuming the giant's going to be back to this cave and they're going to stay there and not, follow us further down unless, they decide like, oh, look, who's been B5 bomb.
So with Jethrin's knowledge and Abrea's knowledge, their general thing would be that the best bet is actually probably going back to where the handholds were for scaling up and climbing back down them. And that'll give you like natural cover from anyone looking down from above based on the angle, because you've like descended down, right? They would need to be like walking to the very edge and like peering over, trying to look down at you.
That sounds good.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Mr. Kashad, I would like to ask that I catch up with you in a moment. I just want to spend some time watching the trail behind you so that you are not surprised.
Oh, are you moving? Are you saying something, Ree? The gate probably can.
Oh, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Hold on, let me turn this off.
Oh.
No, you're in an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm looking at this. Okay, I have to look at it later.
But you're definitely, everything you say now comes across much clearer, though, but it's cool.
Of course, you can do that.
So as they start moving down the path and down the handholds, I want to get a vantage point where I can see close-ish to the cave, and I want to hide.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check with disadvantage.
Okey-doke. Not bad. With disadvantage, that comes out to
30-20.
no, it comes out to 18.
Okay.
That's still pretty good. Yeah, you're able to find a outcropping that like a normal human probably wouldn't be able to use as like a hiding spot that you can peek from. But given that you have a butler training, You sort of know how to exactly kind of align your muscles to lean back up against the wall and kind of hide behind this like little outcropping. Thus, as long as someone doesn't like come around it and like pass by you on the path, they have no chance of seeing you. And you kind of like peer out from there a little bit. What are you looking for?
So my purpose is to see the giant if it comes back, to make sure that no one comes behind the path following them without being aware of it.
Okay. How long do you wait there?
I'm going to wait a pretty substantial amount of time. How long is it until like dark?
About an hour and 20 at the moment, based on the actions everyone's been taking in the conversation.
I'm going to wait about an hour.
Okay, about 38.26 minutes after you start waiting, you see the creature comes back. You watch as a very, very large humanoid, similar to what Abrea has described to you, goes into the cave. And I will also send you the image on Discord.
Having now seen it, do I have any knowledge about it?
Roll me.
I see. I just saw it.
Roll me.
Yeah, I see why I was so shouting. Oh!
See, I'm trying to figure out how to do this for Timon. Because they're also just kind of aged like wine, you know?
Yeah.
So you had the potential to potentially hear about like a lot of stuff in a different events around. Just give me a history check, a regular history check.
15.
That is not enough. You do not know what this creature is. You know that you do not know. Which likely tells you that it is probably not native to Daragonia. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll give you that information.
I'm going to spend the remainder of that hour like watching to see what they do. Like, are they setting up their own camp? Like, are they going through normal domestic routine? Is it something like that?
You were not in the cave, correct? You were watching the cave entrance?
Correct. From the entrance.
So you see them kind of duck down and go inside, and then mostly you would be relying on like non-sight-based senses, right? Like hearing, smell, etc.
Yeah.
You hear bellowing, like ha ha ha, like very like giant, like laughing at something. And about 10 minutes, 15 minutes after that, you start to smell meat cooking of some kind. And you start to notice just the smoke like wafting out of the cave and the barely lit light that's left over. 15, 30 minutes before the sun goes down completely. You gather that it seems to be making a meal of something.
So, Timmons is wise, but real dumb.
Uh-oh. What does that mean exactly?
I think I'd like to try to stealth up to the mouth of the cave and see if I can get eyes on what it's doing. What they are doing.
Okay. Roll. Stealth.
Roll. The death save. I mean,
Everybody have a backup character ready?
I always have a backup character, buddy. Okay, what am I just rolling stealth right now? Is it a straight roll? Is it advantage? Is it advantage?
Sure.
Okay. Then for stealth, that will be a 25.
That is exceptionally good. You
The only good roll I've had today.
You have not made any sounds to indicate your presence, and it's likely through a bit of sheer dumb luck that you are not noticed as you kind of step into the mouth of the cave. But they do not seem to be paying attention to you. You see what looks like some kind of wizard on like a spit roast that's being roasted over a large fire that the giant seems to have made inside of their little cave.
Do they have furnishings? Like, does this look like a place that they regularly return to? Is there anything like a bed or like a pallet or something like that?
The only thing close to that is what looks like some kind of drum.
A drum?
Indeed.
I mean, people get bored up in the mountains. They need hobbies.
Yeah, sure. I just didn't expect that. Kind of curious to see what kind of beats he dropped. What's it on a beat?
It's a giant bard. That's what it is.
Okay. I will not press my luck, and I will go back to where the rest of the party went.
You haven't heard of Giant Cave Boy on the internet? You know, BOI?
Boy.
It's
Boy.
lo-fi cave-fi. Low cave fidelity music.
And you all go to join the others at camp?
Yeah. So I'm going to head down there, and if I make it there, tell them what I saw.
You tell everyone what you saw. You all, I assume, bed down at that point to have your long rest?
You'd probably watch. We'd probably take a watch, but yeah.
Nothing seems to bother you in the night despite your watches. Fortunately or unfortunately, despite the rather tenuous middle of your journey, this first night on the mountain passes without incident. And for once, we end tonight's episode on an event where nothing happens.
Technically, it's an actual cliff.
You wake.
Well, technically.
You wake the next morning to the daylight. All of you are fine. And everything actually seems pretty peaceful on the mountain. We'll catch you next time.
I was waiting for every second for it to be like, psych! Okay, so, yeah.
Giant boulder.
Giant boulder. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Safe to say, House Chiron probably has a new enemy somewhere out in the Gregory Empire. Go ahead and tell us in Discord who you blame entirely for that. I think I kind of have an idea, but I'm just kind of curious to see what you all say. With that said, we look forward to see you all next week for our next episode of Reclamation. But until then, farewell for now.
Bye.
Bye.